There will be also a Q&A, some time for Q&A at the end of the session as well. So you will have plenty of time for interaction and to go through this technical demonstration. Okay, so let's kick it off. So hello everyone. I am Thomas Boris. I'm Product Marketing Manager for LaCie, and I'm pleased to welcome you today for a technical product training and demonstration today about LaCie Red Manager V2, which we will do with, which will be led by John Bowder, our pre-sales engineer, to go through this new interface. But first of all, this is part of our LaCie Partner Program, which we also call LPP, which is a program we've put in place in order to engage with all resellers and make sure we put you in the best situation to grow your business expertise on LaCie solutions. So the LaCie Partner Program is open to every LaCie reseller. All you need to do is registration, which is very easy. You can go on LaCie.com and click on LaCie.com/partners. You register. There's no conditions to register, and then once you're registered, you will have access to some pre-sale support, which includes training videos, invitation to those LaCie Talks webinars. You're entitled to a demo unit program, which allows you to have a 40-day evaluation on a new product you might be interested to test and eventually to sell. You have access to marketing support with the LaCie Resource Center, which I'm going to quickly show you in a minute, and it's also where you have some poster support where you can enter and track all the RMA and support tickets. So here's a quick overview of the LaCie Resource Center. So that's where it's a one-stop shop for all kinds of marketing assets for resellers. That includes product training presentations, that includes sales collaterals, that also includes the latest news. You also have now a form to enter. Sorry, let me mute everyone. There you go. You also have a place where you can very interact with us and leave us with your feedback. And if you have specific questions, usually we try to we'll follow up very quickly with you. And for US and Canada resellers, soon we will also have the MSRP and MAT price list directly available there. So now we're going to get into the actual product training of LaCie Red Manager. So LaCie Red Manager V2 is actually, so it's the second version we have released. So here on the left-hand side, you see what was the previous version of LaCie Red Manager, which we released at the same time. We released the 8-big rack Thunderbolt 2 and the 5-big Thunderbolt 2, which was very a great interface, but not necessarily very intuitive. So we totally refreshed the user interface and the user experience to be much easier, and that's what you see on the right-hand side. The LaCie Red Manager now features wizards, which allows the end user to better understand the product and make sure that the product is optimized to their needs. And you can do much more than just doing some RAID configuration. It also allows you to do some RAID maintenance. You can also, it will also, when you install the latest version of LaCie RAID Manager, it will also install the latest Thunderbolt driver for your LaCie product. So it's very important to always keep LaCie RAID Manager up to date. That's also where you can set up email notifications. So you have any updates, warnings, or error messages being pushed to you. And you can even set up the level of, manage the CPU level of resources when you do some RAID rebuild, when you do some data migration and disk check. So you can manage how much of the computer is used to do those actions. So you're not surprised about how your computer reacts. So the LaCie RAID Manager V2 is compatible with every LaCie RAID 5 Thunderbolt solution, which includes obviously the latest 6-bit Thunderbolt 3 and 12-bit Thunderbolt 3. But it also includes the previous generation 5-bit Thunderbolt 2 and 8-bit rack. So those are the 4 products you can see here. So that was for the introduction. Now I would like to hand the ball to John. John is our LaCie pre-sales engineer. He's based in Portland, Oregon, but is traveling across the country, and is usually attending most of the events we organize to cover customer questions and pre-sales support. So John now is going to do a live demonstration and review of the LaCie RAID Manager V2. John?
All right.
You're not visible. Shall I pass it to you?
All right, I'm going to go through our LaCie RAID Manager version 2 live here. This is a live version on a MacBook Pro with actually 2 drives connected, and we're going to go through all the features. First of all is the option features up at the top level. It'll show you what devices are connected that you can choose from. You can also rescan. If you don't see a device you just connected, you can rescan where to find it. Also up here, under device, if you hover over the device, you will get the option to shut down or mute the alarm. If you have an alarm going off, you can mute it from here very easily. You can also mute the alarm with touching the front blue button quickly on each device as well. Right now I have 2 devices connected to this MacBook. I've got a 5-big and a 12-big. You can rescan and you can quit from this particular menu. We're going to start with the 5-big. So as you can see, I have 2 separate RAIDs created on this 5-big, and they're both showing here under Overview in their arrays. And so if I click on one, it'll show me how many drives. This is a RAID 1. There's 2 drives in the RAID 1. It'll actually show me on the device itself where those 2 drives are in the chassis and the status of the array. You can also click on Array Details, and you can see the RAID level, the status, block size, all the important information. And then since this device has 2 RAIDs, I can also toggle down to the next one, and this is a 5-big RAID 5. So there's 3 drives in a RAID 5, and once again, it shows you the 3 drives in the chassis. So if there's any issues with the drive, you can easily tell where in the chassis it is without having to guess. Now I'm going to switch over to the 12-big now. This is a 12-big Thunderbolt 3 that's connected to this Mac. And as you can see, I only have one RAID connected to this device, one RAID configured on this device. It's a RAID 5. So we can go in, and just like the 5-big, it will show us the chassis, and you can see where all the drives are in the chassis and the status of each individual disk. Now here is where you can also manage your array. I'm going to show you really quickly how to delete an array and create a new one. So if you click on Manage, you get the options to upgrade if you have extra drives, add a spare if you have extra drives, or since all of the drives in this one are used in one big RAID 5, I'm going to delete this array. It gives you a warning, are you sure you want to delete this array? This is data destructive, so you don't want to do this without making sure that your data is intact. And I click delete, it deletes the array, and now there's no drives. These disk information, so now there's 12 drives that the Mac is seeing that are JBOD, uninitialized, ready to go. So you are going to get the cascade warning of drives that are available to disk utility. That's expected behavior. So now I'm in the 12-big, and there's no array created at all. So I can click Create Array, and in the RAID setup, there is the option to do Quick Create. Now, if you do Quick Create, it will automatically create a RAID 1 if there's 2 drives, or RAID 5 if there's 3 or more drives, and just 2 clicks and you'll be done with the RAID. However, I'm going to do a custom array and show you how to do a setup for multiple arrays to optimize performance of both arrays in the 12-big. And so as this warning assigns, if you want to do multiple array, if you want to do 2 like-size arrays, it's best to do odd and even number drives in order to maximize the RAID controller performance. And this is our RAID management control box here. So this is really straightforward. As you click the drives, I'm going to start out and just do odd number drives. You can see it starts populating the list below of what RAIDs are available, how much space is available to storage, and how much space is going to be lost to the parity or redundancy. And as you keep clicking your drives, your options grow, and you see all of your options here available for the number of drives that you selected. For this particular one, I'm going to choose a RAID 5 with 6 drives. This will give me 40 terabytes of usable space and 8 terabytes to the redundancy. And now here is the next level of options for this array. I'm going to call this a RAID 5 array. And I'm not going to include a spare drive. Disk cache is enabled. We recommend for performance that you always leave disk cache enabled. Stripe size, you can choose between stripe size of 64K to 124K depending on what you're working with. With the Mac, the way the Mac interacts with the drive, the 128 or 256 are generally your best stripe size for working with a Mac. And then initialization for this test, I'm just going to do a fast initialization. And it gives me a review of the array name, the RAID level, how much data, and finish. And that's it. I've created a RAID 5, and the status is ready to go. Now, I'm going to create another RAID and show you that these first 6 drives are grayed out. You can't mess them up. You can't accidentally create a RAID over an array. To help make it very simple to manage your arrays and not get confused about which drives are going to what. And so I'm going to do another 6 drives here, and this time I'm going to choose a RAID 6. So it's going to give me 32 terabytes of total storage space and 16 terabytes worth of redundancy. I'm going to call this RAID 6 just to keep a a little bit of organization in my workflow. I'm going to leave this at 126K, and I'm going to do fast initialization again just because this is a test. And there we have it. Just that simply, in a few minutes, we've created 2 RAIDs on this device. They're both ready to go and have their each own redundancy profiles, even though they both mount to this computer with one cable. Now, the next piece I'm going to move on to is under Management, Device Settings. This is one of a really great feature of the new LRM2. You can actually control the CPU for the RAID controller inside the 12 big or the 5, any of the bigs that you're connected with. And so for each process like rebuild, you can choose where you want high priority or low priority for this process. And you just slide the slider over. It takes a moment to register and make that change with the controller inside the drive, and then that's set. And where this can really benefit you is if you have a drive go down on your 12 big while you're doing a project, you're editing a film, and you put the spare drive in there, it'll start rebuilding right away. Now, generally that rebuild process is going to take up almost all the bandwidth of the RAID controller CPU inside the 12 big. Since this is a hardware RAID, it has limited CPU availability. And if you go to try and finish your editing project, you're going to be at cross purposes with that CPU, and you're going to have poor performance of your editing and poor performance of your RAID rebuild. And so in this case scenario, you could actually run this down to low and set rebuild to low, and then finish working on your project. It will, what I like to say, trickle rebuild while you're set into low mode. It does use some of the CPU processor for the RAID controller. However, it won't be as bad for your editing as if you had no control whatsoever. Then once you're finished with your editing session and you can let the device go to rebuild, you can move this up to high, and it can finish rebuilding up to twice as fast as normal in the high setting for this particular process. And you can control this each for the initialization, synchronization, rebuild, upgrade, disk check. Also here, you can enable alarm, you can enable auto rebuild. So this is, in device settings, a really new exciting feature that we've instituted with all of our LaCie Big RAID products. Next, I'm going to go to notifications. And you can see just in the notifications, about the last steps we did, we created a couple of arrays, we've deleted arrays. You can download this log and email to support if necessary. You can also set up email notifications here, so you don't have to have the computer on and be in this notifications tab to see what's going on. You can set up notifications. You can choose either any combination of warnings, errors. I'm just going to uncheck warnings and leave errors only, and then put my email address in here. And then save that. And now all of the warnings, errors that are showing up on here will also be emailed to my email address, so I can have those quickly available to me anytime and really monitor my device as much as I need to. And then the last thing I'm going to show is our updates. Like Clement said earlier, it's really important that you keep your LaCie RAID Manager up to date and your LaCie product up to date, and you can do that right from this screen for both the manager and the product. And so for the 12 big, I'm going to hit check now. It quickly checked and everything is up to date. This is run. I recommend that you do it at least every couple of weeks to make sure everything's up to date and you're using the latest firmware on your drive as well as the RAID manager. All right. Now that is the main overview, and I'm going to go ahead and open this up for questions now.
So anyway, thank you, John. If anyone has any specific questions, we have the chat box area. You could even ask, since John is connected, if you want him to show you specific parts of the interface or do a test or run something, please go ahead and ask. We are here for that.
What does, so we do have a question from Brian. What does the initialization slider do? All right, so on the arrays that I created, I just did a quick fast initialization, and they, the drives, didn't do a full consistency check. If I had done a background initialization, status wouldn't show ready. It'd show the status of the build where it's consistency checking every block on every drive. And the initialization slider in the device settings here will control how fast it's going through that process of consistency checking the entire RAID. And so if I'd done a background initialization, then you could come in here and change the slider either to low to high. If you were going to try and put data on it right away, you'd want to put it down to low. If you were going to just let it finish initializing before you did any data to it, then you could put it up to high, and that's and then it'll rebuild just as fast as possible with nothing else. Thank you for the question.
The question from Edward is asking, can you set up 2 RAID arrays on the same set of drives?
No. No, the drives are part of one RAID array only. So if you, like I chose in the 12 big, I chose the odd number drives, 1, 3, 5, 7, and so on for the first RAID 5. When you come back in, those drives are grayed out and you cannot choose them because we don't want you to damage any data that's on those drives. So each drive can only be part of one array.
Thank you, John.
That's a good question. Herman, these units are very quiet. We have, on the 12 big, we have 4
John, we don't all see the question. Can you repeat the question?
Sure. Herman asks, is there any information about the loudness and decibels of the new RAID system? I don't have the actual decibel specs yet. I was at an event at a sound company, and they tried to mic it to show how quiet it really was, and we were under 30 decibels, but I don't have any true specs on this. And I will say that it has 4 ultra-quiet Noctura fans, and it can run on just 3 fans. So it's very quiet sitting in a quiet desk studio right next to you. I will see if I can get some actual decibel ratings, and then we can send those out to everybody who attended this. Let's see. Brian also asked, is there access to the RAID manager remotely? Not the RAID manager. There's no remote access unless you can access your entire computer remotely.
Okay, thank you very much for the question. We will still be there for like a few minutes. First, I want to say thank you very much, John, for the demo. I think it was a great way to present LaCie Rate Manager. Until we get the last questions, I just wanted to remind that everyone here should remember to register to the LaCie Partner Program. It's very easy. There is no condition. You just go on lacie.com/partners, and this will give you access to training, marketing assets, invitation to those webinars, and all kinds of other benefits. Okay, so do you see any more questions popping in on your side, John?
Herman's had a more follow-up about Too Big. I would like to follow up with Herman later by email. And so, Herman, if you can send your email to me, I will follow up with you offline. And that looks to be it.
Okay. Well, thank you everyone for coming, and really enjoyed the interaction and the questions. And if you have more questions coming up, we will be at NAB in a couple of weeks, where LaCie Rate Manager will be there, obviously, and will be presented, so we can go in a deeper presentation. And if you are not on the US territory, keep an eye on all the other local events we attend. Usually on all of them, we do show LaCie Rate Manager, and we can go through the whole interface where you can even yourself manipulate. So thank you, everyone. Thank you so much, John, and look forward to another technical training.
All right, thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you, everyone.